This morning on The Dish, a chef the James Beard Foundation called the darling of Raleigh, North Carolina. Ashley Christensen was born and raised in the state and grew up in a food-loving family. But she didn't know she'd make cooking her career until her first culinary job at age 21. Since then, she's opened 6 acclaimed restaurants and with her wife and business partner is co-author of 2 cookbooks, including their latest, It's Always Freezer Season. Jamie Wax sat down with them to talk about that unusual theme and a wedding to remember.
After working in the kitchens of some of the world's finest chefs, this is where Chef Ashley Christensen's own vision first became fully realized. The reimagining of a beloved downtown diner called Pools in the place she loves most, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Ashley, when I look around this space, it's amazing to me what you did to elevate a Southern diner, but also what you did to preserve the integrity of it.
I think of it less as elevating and more of celebrating.
Celebrating.
The bones of this place and its history. And I've said it over and over again about this set of walls, just that there are so many great ghosts here and so many long-standing relationships with this place long before I ever arrived.
Christensen's love of long-standing relationships is evident in her 6 incredibly diverse Raleigh establishments, from Beasley's Chicken and Honey to Poolside Pies, the Neapolitan-inspired gourmet pizza joint with a huge wood-fired oven as its centerpiece, and a clever swimming pool theme throughout.
The idea of playing off of the name Pools next door and calling it Poolside, and Pools, of course, is spelled P-O-O-L-E.
No matter how different the menu, each of her restaurants reflects the care, comfort, and community that are central to Ashley Christensen's cooking, values shared by her wife and culinary partner, Caitlin Golan.
I grew up in Los Angeles in a family that loved food. The adults would just spend like several hours in the kitchen. The labor of food was never felt like work. It was always part of the time together, the fellowship together.
My background really begins with my parents and their love for food as non-professional cooks, as home cooks.
The DNA of Christensen's cooking comes from both parents. Her mother traveled as an Air Force brat, and her father was a truck driver who came home from every trip excited to share the new recipes he had experienced on his travels.
Dad would come home, and the way that he would share with us to make up for time he was away was to cook dishes that he experienced on the road.
Food has always brought Ashley and Kate together, not only in life, but also in business. Their unique new cookbook, It's Always Freezer Season, is their latest collaboration.
This book was so fun to write because there were so many stories and relationships that we got to pay homage to. We love the food in this book. We're not sick of it yet.
The idea of this book is to treat the freezer more like a pantry, a perfect concept for a newly prolific crop of pandemic home cooks.
I love that you call the freezer the most underutilized appliance in the kitchen, which is really true, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the freezer took on much more of a preservation aspect than simply a chilling device, which is, I think, sort of where you start, right? But really what it is in our minds is this storage space for preserving the life of food that we have either already made or that we, want to make.
And from their freezer come global recipes with a southern flair that include carnitas, cornbread panzanella with watermelon, a creamy, citrusy, salty dog pie, and mac and cheese with a twist. Pimento cheese, something most Southerners know well.
I have to say this custard-style mac and cheese with a little hit of pimento cheese in it is absolutely unbelievable.
Awesome.
So delicious.
Awesome. My mother will be so excited.
When people talk about pimento cheese, I think they think of these store-bought tubs of something that's very sort of gelatinous and slimy, which tastes good on its own, but it's nothing like this.
My pimento cheese is inspired by my great godmother, who is from Chillicothe, Ohio, and made a very different pimento cheese than I had ever eaten in the South. And so this is meant to be the pimento cheese for people who did not know they liked pimento cheese. We call it a convert dish.
Oh boy.
The two have become a true North Carolina power couple. In early 2020, the pair wed in an elaborate but deeply personal ceremony.
The two of you had the coolest wedding I've ever seen in my life.
We have some really beautiful friendships with local musicians who have gone into the national world and done really fun things and sharing their energy.
The wedding was not only covered by Vogue magazine, but also featured Carolina music royalty like Justin Vernon of Bon Iver and another special guest.
Bruce.
Bruce Hornsby.
Bruce Hornsby. This is
Total surprise, and she almost fell over.
And as soon as I saw him, I don't know if I've ever been so speechless.
But there was someone there who meant even more than all the celebrities. Her father.
I lost my father at the beginning of this year, but he has been always a huge part of inspiring both my confidence and my love for food.
You named your bar for your father.
Yeah, so my dad's nickname is Fox, and we have a bar called Fox.
That focus on the personal has garnered Christensen multiple James Beard Awards, as well as a reputation as a champion for women in every level of the restaurant industry. It also might be why, even though Ashley Christensen has all the world to choose from, she chooses to bloom where she's planted.
You keep 6 excellent places in a town that you love, and just keep getting better.
Well, at some point we realized that this should be about not needing more spaces or places, but making sure that each of those evolve and not viewing change as failure, but exciting evolution.
For CBS This Morning Saturday, Jamie Wax, Raleigh.
Okay, the pimento mac and cheese is officially now on the menu for this weekend, I think, right?
Oh my gosh, I was the lone person eating pimento cheese sandwiches in South Carolina because that's all I could eat. And I just love that it's in mac and cheese.
Good. Raleigh is such a great food city, too.
Yeah, her restaurants. I mean, all of those spaces look amazing.
I love her. I love everything about it.
Both of them.
And her wedding.
Yeah.